Good evening, Jimmy Finn here from On the Ball Team Building. At the second episode so far on our an Inside View series. So this evening we have Darran O'Sullivan, the four-time All Ireland winner with Kerry, and All Ireland winning captain in 2009. And he actually played with the QPR Academy, so it'd be interesting to see to get his insight. So look, I'm going to bring him on, and we'll have a bit of a chat. Darren, how things?
Hi Jamie, what the crack?
Good, good, good.
Sure, can you
Can you
hear
hear
me?
me? I can, yeah, I can. Is the Wi-Fi a bit touch and go?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, perfect, perfect. How are you keeping? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you spot on. We'll get there.
Perfect, perfect. How are you keeping?
Not
Yeah,
too
we'll get
bad.
there eventually, eventually.
Yeah, grand, yeah. Tipping away. Trying to stay busy.
Good, good. How are the family?
Good, yeah, I suppose we're kind of getting sick of each other now at this stage, but we have no choice. We're stuck with each other.
I know, I know, I know. Are you doing a bit of training to keep the mind active, or what are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, I'm lucky enough. Obviously, I'm working with Max Sport as well, so I had the shed kitted out just before this actually really went down. Like, so I'm done with gyms. I don't need to go back there. I'm kitted out.
I seen you've sorted out a lot of the Kerry lads as well.
Yeah, in fairness, I've had a good few of the Kerry boys on it, a lot of the Cork curlers, and only last week now I Donegal footballer, down footballer. So
Jeez.
a lot of the GA lads have got onto me. Just I suppose it's probably easier to check with me what's in stock than it is on the website at times. So it's just good to
Yeah,
help out fellas.
that's cool, that's cool. And do you reckon it'll have an effect on gyms going forward, or what do you think?
You'd have to think it will. Initially, it
Yeah,
will. I suppose people are going to be nervous. I suppose people like the gyms are fairly sweaty and people are puffing and panting. Initially, it will, but I think once it dies down, people will want to get back to as much of a normal life as they can, and just being part of a gym. It's like being part of a little mini community as well, and people have missed that as well. So, look, hopefully for people now that are stuck in gyms and do PT and classes, that we can get on top of this soon, and we can go back to going in and supporting guys that have helped us over the years.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And it's definitely a weird time we're in at the moment, and I'd imagine everywhere down around South Kerry is locked up, is it? So it
Yeah,
should
well,
be
I'm
it should be busy.
Yeah, like I suppose like just when it was kicking off, I suppose was when the season would have been getting started. So like I had the bar down in Glenbeigh, Ross Point, right down the beach. So the weekend we were due to open, everything closed. So like that, I suppose I'm living in Clarny, so Clarny's normally booming. You can go for a drive through town there this evening. There won't be a sinner around the place, so it's very eerie.
Jesus, definitely weird times, weird times. I suppose we might as well go now properly, and
Yeah.
I suppose we'll have a look back at before you moved to before you moved over to Glenbeigh, and you're influenced by a great relation of mine.
Is that what he said?
The other way around, I say, is it?
Jeez, I don't know. Is the blind leading the blind?
Look, I suppose I was just obviously not, knowing your history, but the rest of the people probably joining the chat wouldn't. But look, you played with the QPR Academy for a while, didn't you? And you played a small bit of football. You might just elaborate a bit on that.
Yeah, I suppose like growing up, like most London lads, it was soccer was my game, and I was lucky enough that the Sunday League team I played it over was as close to kind of a GA club as you can get. All of the players got on, all of the parents were friends. We used to have a game on a Sunday morning. Parents were all there. They'd be drinking their teas and coffees. We'd go to a local after. Me and the boys be shooting the ball outside and whatever, and the parents be inside. So it was it was as close to GA club as you can get. So I was lucky enough. We had a good team to be scouts at a lot of these games, a lot of competitions. We used to go to an international competition up in Bournemouth once a year, and you'd have teams from all over the world. Man Higuita, the goalie that did the scorpion kick that time, was over with a club, so we met him.
Jeez.
And you just had scouts from everywhere, and I was lucky enough that I got a chance to get to try with QPR and was with him for a couple of years before I moved home. And a few of the boys that I was signed up with stayed for another couple of years, but never worked out fully for them.
Oh, cool. And what age did you come back to Ireland?
Just 12. So
12.
yeah. So I suppose it's a kind of an awkward age, but I still had aspirations that I was going to be playing in the Premiership, but they weren't long leaving me. But yeah, it was an awkward age. But I played Gaelic football in London with Donegal club, Tyrconnell Gaels as well. So the trainer was a Cork man, Dennis O'Leary. So I was well used to GA when I came home. It wasn't like I was picking up a brand new sport or anything like that. So.
Oh yeah, I was listening to an interview you did, and I think it was one of your first games you spent with Tyrconnell Gaels. You spent most of the game just speaking to your marker, having a chat with him.
Yeah, I was just amazed. I think he was saying he was from Clarny or his cousins in Clarny, and I just thought, Jesus, Clarny's only out the road from Glenbeigh. Amazing. Just wasn't twigging it. So I just spent most of it chatting to him.
And how it's crazy how times have changed. I mean, you came back to Glenbeigh, and had you family there, or was it just completely new, or what was the situation?
Sure. Like all my family are in Glenbeigh, so it was nothing new. I suppose we used to be back for Christmas, Easter, summer, any sort of holiday you can name. We were back for it anyway. So like that, I knew a lot of the lads growing up. I played a bit in the summers for under 10s and stuff like that. So it was an easy enough transition. Obviously, going into a new secondary school and stuff like that isn't the easiest thing, and it was halfway through the year because it was at Christmas time. So that was a bit awkward. But the fact that I could play football made it very easy. Sure, one PE class there, and fellas can see that you're pretty good or you're decent anyway. And all of a sudden you're part of the group there, and you're part of the group. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I suppose when exactly did you kind of start breaking onto the Kerry scene? Was it did you break on the 21s, or were you kind of in there at the development squad? How did you kind of come to the intercounty scene initially?
I suppose like everyone else, it's you get on your school team, and I was playing with the Mid-Kerry under 14s and was doing okay with them, and then it's Kerry South. And I suppose once you get onto a Kerry South or a Kerry North, you're getting to play with the best players in all them clubs, and you get a bit of a taste for it. I suppose you get the Kerry shorts and socks when you're playing, and that's always when you're young, it means an awful lot just to be coming back with the Kerry shorts and socks. So like that, I suppose like every young fella in Kerry, it's get on your club team, get on your school team. Next thing you get on a Mid-Kerry or an East Kerry, West Kerry, whatever it is, and then you get to the Kerry South and you're going up and you're playing the likes of Tipperary or Cork or whoever it is, and like that, it gave me a bit of confidence. I suppose confidence can be a great thing for somebody young. I caught the bug. I lost interest in soccer. There was football. Couldn't get enough of it.
And I found out that you used to fly back and over to London in the early days, we say, once you moved over. Was that playing with QPR still, or was it?
No, I suppose for the first 6 months that I was home, so Christmas to summertime, my Sunday league team would have been called Celtic, and just didn't want to miss any games. Didn't want to finish out the season. I'd with QPR, it was more of a training thing. You wouldn't play that many games. It'd be every couple of weeks you'd have a game against another London club or whatever. But I'd kind of finished up with them. But like I said, my Sunday league team were like a GA club, just like playing for Glenbeigh or Dingle or whoever it is, and they were my closest mates. I didn't want to miss a game like that. My father would have been very pally with all of their fathers. So
Friday evening, it wasn't too bad.
No, we'd fly home on a Friday, or fly back to London on a Friday evening, and chill out on a Saturday, play the game on a Sunday, fly back to Kerry on a Sunday.
Jeez, it wasn't too bad, I suppose, when you look at it like that. You kind of got used to
Yeah.
things. I suppose when I started to get to know you, the first thing that kind of came into my mind was when I saw you play. It was probably back in 2000, and it was 2006 when you played Armagh, and you ran
Mm.
through the defence. I was actually down in Kilkenny at a wedding that day. Was that the day Donaghy had a bit of a two
Don,
three words with Hartley, the
two,
goalie?
yeah, Donaghy never only has two or three. There's always a few extra. No, he had. I think he had the words with Francie Bellew first and Paul Hearty after. It was funny because he came down to the bar actually. I think it was 2 summers ago. Paul Hearty, pure nice fella, and told him until he left that I texted him and said, just to let you know, thanks, I got my first ever Kerry goal on you. Big man, I didn't want to say it to his face.
That your first goal
So,
with the seniors, yeah?
yeah, that was my first goal. I got
Jeez.
nicknamed Forrest Gump after that because the emotion got the better of me. I just took off running and roaring as soon as it hit the net. So,
Jeez, that's gas. Never knew that now. And did
mm,
that nickname stick with you all the way through, or?
no, not really. Botty was the man who started nicknaming me that
Oh
for a
yeah.
bit, and every now and again to annoy me, he might throw it out there. But luckily for me, it didn't stick.
Yeah, good, good, good. After that, then I suppose that was 2006, and you won an All Ireland that year.
Hmm.
And then you came up against Tyrone, was it in 2007?
No, we beat Cork in seven.
Oh,
So we
Cork,
won.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, we won back to back in 2007, and then 2008. Then was back Tyrone. I lost to
Tyrone,
them
yeah.
in 2004 in the minors, 2005 in the seniors, 2008 again in the seniors. So I was well sick of Tyrone at that stage.
Uh, just about Tyrone there, I suppose one point I meant to bring up was the when you played in minor, in
Mm.
the minor game. I remember I was at that, and I suppose that was the emergence of what Pat Spillane said, pew football. They had the tactic of rotating people on you.
Yeah, I suppose, like they're just ahead of the curve, really.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I'd never seen it. Like I suppose not many people had seen it at minor level, maybe a bit at senior level, but in terms of minors, it was unheard of. Like I suppose so when it started happening, it was just hard to understand what was going on, and you just couldn't react. But yeah, like it's still a game that like it lingers with me all the time. Like it's one that I'd always look back and go, "Geez, if I knew." If I know what I knew now, like kind of thing, I'd have played the game
yeah.
slightly a bit different or whatever. But look, it's one of them things. They were ahead of the curve at the time. It wasn't easy to take, but
Yeah, look, it's one of those things. Look, you win some and you lose some, and that obviously brought you on a huge amount because you came onto the Kerry scene, after that, and things kind of started going for you then from there. And I suppose another memory that jumps to mind was 2008, the county final against Cairns Rattleys. There was some bit of a schmozzle in around the goal. Were you involved in that, or I can't remember exactly. Were you involved in that, or I know Aidan O'Shea
no,
scored the goal, the
no,
penalty after, and
it was funny because I got hit with an umbrella after the game because um, in the build up to the game or in the build up to the goal, I was trying to get up to play and it was Danny Sullivan. I wouldn't have known him that well at the time. I know him now, like, and he's a nice lad. He's a good lad. But he's pulling and dragging at me going up the sideline. I'm trying to shrug him off. And eventually, anyway, I'm going, oh, I'm going to get nothing here. So I'll even go past me. And I just swiped, kicked across him, turned him clean upside down. And the play goes on. Schmozzle inside, penalty. And the linesman came up to me after. He goes, "You're lucky I know your uncle because I would have sent you off otherwise."
gotta love the GA, don't you?
Stop. But yeah, so I was a good bit away, and I'll never forget the penalty was given. I wouldn't have a great track record with penalties, and I couldn't remember who the penalty take. I was like, Jesus, I hope I'm not expected to take this. And in fairness to Aidan, like, the pressure on that kick, like, so
That's
no
crazy,
better
yeah.
man than Aidan Shea.
Yeah, I remember that game. I was actually at in Clarny. Yeah, the place went nuts.
Oh,
Then after that,
bonkers.
obviously, brought you on into to captain Kerry in 2009. what? I suppose you were kind of young. Were you about 23 or something when that happened?
22 when I got named captain.
Jesus.
Yeah, and like that, I suppose I'd spent the years before being an impact sub, and I was comfortable in my role. I knew it wasn't like I ever doubted myself or anything like that, but I suppose when you get named captain, then the pressure kind of ramps up a small bit. Right. I knew I was good enough to be on the team, but I also knew that I was the only one able to do what I did coming off the bench. So
Yeah.
I was happy enough doing that role for quite a while, just because we were winning. We were at All Ireland every year. And I
Yeah.
knew that the boys appreciated what I did. It wasn't like I wasn't getting on because I wasn't playing well. I was nearly not getting on because I was playing too well coming off the bench.
Yeah.
So I suppose getting the captaincy, like the captaincy part and the extra responsibility didn't really weigh a whole pile on me. It was just I want to be on now. Like I've sat still, I've sat quiet, I've done my job, I've done my kind of apprenticeship, if you like, I've
Yeah.
put in all the effort, and I just wanted to play. Then I said I wanted to be the one leading the team out. But in fairness to Jack, like he always said, there's no extra pressure. Go play your game. If you want to say something before a match, say it. If you don't bother.
Fair enough. That's probably that's a good bit of advice, and I suppose that kind of leads into what David Clifford now this year. I suppose whenever the championship is going to resume again, or if it will resume, it's a lot. It can be a lot of stress on young shoulders, but
yeah, like I suppose I was lucky enough that when I was in there, like, geez, I could be here all evening naming out the players and the leaders. It wasn't like some 22-year-olds going to go telling them what to do. As long as I remember, the Kerry dressing room, there's always leaders. Like, so it's not really up to the captain to be the one setting the tone. No, we've had great captains and they've always been well able to speak and motivate fellas, but they also knew that there was other fellas able to do it as well. So there was never that extra pressure anyway on a Kerry captain.
That's good. That's good. It's and I suppose what was it like? I suppose it's every boyhood dream to captain their county, and then I suppose to captain a county and win is another thing. Win an All Ireland and then bring the All Ireland back to Glenbeigh must have been a dream come true.
Yeah, I suppose like it's gas when I think back to it. Like the games, don't remember a whole pile about them. Only that we were going shockingly bad until we got to Croke Park and played Dublin, and then the final against Cork. Obviously, it's an All Ireland final. I didn't really think about the captaincy until I came off with 5 or 10 minutes to go, and
you're getting worried in.
Yeah, it was gas. I sat down and Darran was like going, "Have you the Irish ready?" And I didn't do Irish in school because I came back at 12, so I was like, "Oh Jesus!" So Ty Kennelly was actually sitting beside me at this stage, and he goes, "Rattle it off to me there, and I'll let you know." So I was grand. So the game's still going on, and I'm rattling off the speech to Ty Kennelly, like. So the whistle went, like, and I wouldn't get nervous before matches. For as long, I didn't get nervous till I was coming to the end of my career. I don't know why that is.
Probably experienced too much then, I suppose.
Yeah, I probably expect, like, I was probably putting too much pressure on myself, and I probably expected to do more. But when you're younger, you should go and play. So I hadn't been nervous at all. And next thing I was like, "Oh Jesus!" You're just looking around at the numbers and the crowd, and you're like, "Oh." And I remember Mark O'Shea came up beside me as well, and he goes, "I'll stand beside you. So if you get stuck, I'll give you a little nudge and let you know." But as soon as he said, I was there, in the hope I'm trusting him here because he could have me saying anything.
He could, yeah.
So, yeah. So, look, it was grand. Like, I suppose I got the chance to do a speech earlier in the year when we won the National League, and I had nothing prepared for that. I was only skitting and laughing and stuff. So I got a small bit of experience of standing up and looking out. So look, it was just a matter of go with it, and hopefully it won't go too bad. And luckily enough, it was fine. The big thing was winning.
Was that the last year? If supporters were allowed onto the pitch, or did that come? Was that? I think it was.
I think it was. Yeah. Oh, do you know what? It's such a blur. I can't even remember.
Yeah, I think that was the last time I was on the pitches.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was because like it was always an argument: should they or shouldn't they? And like, I suppose it adds to the atmosphere. And you know, when you're up there and you're looking out and it's all green and gold, it obviously adds to everything. But there isn't much time to actually embrace your teammates and have your bit of hot ball with them, and or commiserate the opposition, because it's the crowd will come from everywhere. I remember 2005 after we lost it to Tyrone, and I was only just gone 19. I just come on, made my debut, and whistle went, and the Tyrone crowd came on, and
Oh yeah.
the guard had to drag me off the field because I couldn't get through the crowd, like.
Jesus.
And it can be intimidating enough, like, and you just don't know nowadays, like, someone mightn't like you and give you a little clip there in a crowd or
Yeah.
anything like that. So I suppose safety wise, I suppose they had to come in, but it does take a small bit away from the atmosphere.
Yeah, I remember. I suppose once it came, that was definitely the last time I was on the pitch, and it was the time you lifted the cup. But it was kind of a big shock right to the system, going to All Ireland's after, and you weren't, supporters weren't onto the field. But again, look, player safety is number one, and Jesus,
Mm.
anything can happen. Um, you know,
Yeah,
it's
that's the thing.
yeah. So it's, I suppose, leading on from that, then you captain Kerry in 2009. I suppose the years following that, they were kind of difficult, and then 2014, obviously, you won the All Ireland, but you had a difficult year that year.
Yeah, so I suppose, like, after 2009, I'd nailed down my spot at that stage, and I was on the team after that, 10, 11, 12, 13. At the end of 13, I had hip surgery, and like that, I suppose I probably rushed my comeback, and it's kind of my fault as well. Like, I'd have grievances about my training after it,
Mm.
but also I should have been tough enough to say no. And it's probably my own regret that I wasn't probably tough enough just to say no, because you're being patient, you want to get out there. I think it was 5, maybe 6 times I did my hamstring that year, and
Jesus.
it was always, and it wasn't bad. It was just tweaks here and there, and yeah, it was just one of them years. It was a great year for Kerry, and it just never got going for me. Coming up to the Mayo game, the semi final, I actually did a tendon, and I just thought it was a grade 1 strain. So I was named on the panel, but couldn't couldn't play. That was my first time ever missing a championship game as well for Kerry in over 10 years.
Jesus.
And I got back just a week before the All Ireland, played in the AVB, and Enright gave me a little nudge, trying to keep a ball in. I went crashing into the steel barriers, destroyed my
Oh,
face.
oh Jesus.
So it was just one of them years for me. I just had no luck. Obviously, I had the major surgery, and just kept pushing the body to do things that just couldn't do.
I suppose looking back, I know you would have done things a bit differently, like would you have done, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, to be honest, it took 2 years off me. Because
Jeez,
14, I didn't play a whole pile of 14. Because at the end of the year, then I was so mad for ball. I just wanted to play, and I did. I had a bad tendon tear, playing for the club in the Kerry Championship, and that I think I was out for. In total, I'd say I was out between 4 and 6 months with it. By the time I had to go back playing properly, like, so, that kind of slowed down 15 for me as well, because I just couldn't get my match fitness up. I could do all the training in the world, but I just couldn't get the match fitness, and it's hard to get into the first 15 when they don't think you can last. And the argument was always, you're more beneficial to us coming off the bench than having to take you off after 40 or 50 minutes. So it just kind
yeah.
of, like, the way I see it, I lost 2 years after the hip.
Jesus. And I suppose just kind of to go back there a minute, I kind of we went ahead, but in 2011, another clip that comes to mind was that soccer style backflip
Oh
goal
yeah.
against Limerick in Croke Park. How many times do you practice that piece of skill, or
No, I blame Sheehan for
off
that. It
the
was a
cuff?
bad pass off the cuff, yeah. But like that, it all comes from messing with a ball. Like, even to this day and age, like, I'd still be messing with a ball. There's a ball there, I'd be flicking it and messing with it. Just a natural instinct. And I think in Kerry, you're kind of encouraged to play it as you see it. And my instinct was flick it. like you do it without thinking.
Yeah.
It was just one of them things. I was in good form all year. I was confident, so it was like I could have tried another time. I could have just fallen over myself and missed it completely and been whipped off. But luckily this time we went in.
And would you say 2011, was your best year in the green and gold jersey, or you were the reason I'm saying that is because you're nominated, for Player of the Year that year, or what's your own feel over your whole
Yeah.
journey?
Yeah, I suppose it was in terms of consistency. I came back early, played all the McGrath Cup, played all the league, played all the championship. But from the McGrath Cup onwards, I was just in good form. I was fit. I didn't need much training because I had my match fitness. I was playing matches all the time. I think at the time, the management had a lot of faith in me as well. And the more faith they had in me, the more confidence it gave me. And I just went out and played. Like literally, I wasn't given much instruction. It was just go out and do what you do. Happy days. Like that at the time, like myself, Gooch and Declan used to rotate. So I could be centre forward, Declan could be full and Gooch could be corner. The next time you look up, Declan could be out centre forward, I could be in the corner and Gooch could be full. And we kind of did it without talking about it. Was just a natural thing. Like I suppose that's the great thing about Kerry is players can move around wherever we were. We didn't have to say if I go here, you go there. We did it. It was natural.
The chemistry you had together at the time.
Yeah, and it all just came from. I suppose back then training. I always think was training always this hard. When I was finishing up, I just felt like every night was just tongue hanging out at the end of it. But like when I started, you'd have hundreds of balls kicked before training. Like you just wouldn't think about it. You wouldn't be there going, geez, how hard training. You just go out and you'd kick, and you'd be messing with the ball and you'd be going for long range goals or outrageous efforts for points and stuff like that. You just played, and I think when you were going out in the field, then you just had so much confidence in yourself, and you knew each other's game so well at the time. It made it easy.
And did you, like, on that point, actually, did you see a big change from, say, kind of breaking onto the inter-county scene, really, with the minors and then going into the seniors, to when you finished in relation to training and diet, nutrition, etc.? Obviously, I say there wasn't much recovery back in the early days.
Yeah. The nutrition wasn't great in the early days. We knew no better. Like to be Cocoa Pops in the morning, and you think you were flying it. But I know big change. But so the biggest change was the technology side of things. Really, everything was tracked, and when I was finishing up, I nearly felt too much was tracked, and you were kind of judging fellas off stats more than the actual game and what he was doing with the ball and how often he touched the ball. Like, so you can argue 2 and 4. Some people love the stats. I didn't have much interest in them. I just wanted to go out and play.
Yeah, I suppose that, like you were saying, there is a fine line, between stats and how you play. But like some managers and some players are big at the stats, and at the end of the day, if you can't, if you can't kick the ball over the bar with both legs, and you're breaking all these stats, it doesn't really add up there.
Yeah, it's funny. After I retired, I met Peter Keane, and we were both looking at stats. It was just a general chat. He's a football man. He just wanted to pick my brains about something. Like, I was happy to chat to him, and I remember one of the things he was looking at was how often fellas were touching the ball and how often then they'd kick it, and why weren't they kicking it more? And I remember just thinking, that's the kind of stats I like.
Yeah.
And look, that's what it is. It's football at the end of the day. Like, he wasn't trying to overcomplicate it. It was the ball moves faster than any man, and if I'm touching it 20 times, how many times am I kicking it? So
yeah, that's the thing. And I suppose, looking back at I suppose you had great career up to when you retired, and obviously the last 1 or 2 years then Dublin started, kind of, they eventually got the breakthrough, and obviously, look, we know what the situation is there. It's still a sore point down in Kerry. But it's, I suppose, over the last couple of years, Dublin have been flying. Obviously, fair play to them. They were well ahead of a lot of counties up until now. But do you think Kerry were that far off last year, or was it just experience maybe that?
I think it was experience.
Yeah,
It was the only, I suppose it was the main game now where I think, Jesus, I really think the last 10 minutes I could do something here. No, I don't think after you retire you ever stop thinking I could influence this game, but it was the game where I thought, just crying out for a bit of experience now. I knew
yeah,
exactly what I'd be doing. And it was the first game now, especially, on James Dunne was injured or just back. And I just
yeah,
went, I thought if he was 50%, I would have been bringing it. Because I
yeah,
just felt
definitely.
that his experience, there was space all over the field. Obviously, when you're in the stand, you can see everything.
Yeah,
But I just think it was a lack of experience on the bench. It was the first time now where I started feeling a bit guilty because obviously Anthony Maher, Donaghy, and Donegan and myself all left together,
yeah,
which was a lot of experience. And then there was a few more lads who were let go. So you had the bones of 8 or 10 fellas who were fairly well experienced gone from a panel.
yeah.
And I
And
just felt
like,
that if you had one or two to come on, I think Kerry would have won.
we would definitely, steady the ship. Like, you could
Yeah,
see that towards the end. Um, I suppose, in relation to that as well, I suppose, would you ever think of coming out of retirement again, or is that ship has, back,
every day.
every day? Yeah,
Um, no, like I suppose, like the first year, you're always thinking, "Oh, geez, I'll go back, I'll go back, I'll go back." Um, like I still think to this day, like you'd be fit enough to play the games. It's just the training, it's the work you have to do to get to the games.
yeah, I can imagine.
Just body wouldn't be
Crazy.
able for it now. Like you look at some of the soccer boys, and as they got older, they hardly trained. It was make sure they're ready for games. I'm not sure has the GA moved on to that yet.
Yeah,
It's kind of still fairly much a one size fits all. So you could have a 30 odd year old who's playing with the county with 10, 12 years, doing the same training all year as a 19, 20 year old who's fresh off the bat and mad for road. You just don't recover. I suppose the older you are, you've more responsibilities with work, career, and then
family
family
as
and
well
stuff
and
like that.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah, so that was my big thing is I just wouldn't be able to get from week to week. Like you could probably play a great game, but the next game might be 3 or 4 weeks, and them weeks of training would absolutely kill me. Like,
yeah, and especially I suppose when the time you retired, you're expecting your first child, and then you had,
yeah,
you got the business up and running, like so.
yeah.
Something had to
Priorities
give.
change. Yeah,
Yeah,
priorities change, and I suppose you give so much to football and Kerry, and that's I always felt that when I was with Kerry, it was number one, and once it stopped being my number one, it's time to leave
yeah,
because you can't give it your all. You're not going to get on, and then you just get bitter.
yeah, and that I suppose that thing can filter through the team as well, and you don't want that.
No, like you could be a negative. I mean, my last year again got a. I did. I broke my hand before Christmas when I got back training early, and then I went on honeymoon. And I actually did ankle ligaments my first day in Thailand. I stood on a dumbbell. The first morning I arrived, I went to the gym
Jesus.
thinking, anyway, stood in a dumbbell. And I remember coming back and like that, I was mad for games and I begged them to leave me play with the club. And they're like, right, you can play 20 minutes. And I said, all right, grand. But we were short, loads. So we're
Yeah,
playing around more. And the boys were like, what's your story? I was like, I'm only allowed 20 minutes. And I was like, looking around a bit down bodies. I was like, playing in the first half. They're like, grand. So played the first half, felt good. They're like, do you have to come off? And I was like, nah, I'm grand. Play away. Well, 5 minutes into the second half, there was a sniper in the crowd. Hammer gone. And I
oh
remember,
Jesus.
yeah. And I was chasing my tail early as it was. I remember Eamon rang me. And it was fair enough. Like, you more or less told me, like, you have very little hope of getting on the panel for the Munster Championship because you've nothing played. You're not going to play any of the club championship. So, and I was, I think at the time he was giving me an out that you can retire now if you want. Like the
Mm,
league's over. How are you going to get back in here? And I just went, look, in my own head, I was like, going, I'm not leaving now injured and having to do all this stuff my own. I said, if I am going, I'm going to go back to the club fit and healthy. So I was like, look, obviously I got the tongue lashing for playing too long. And I just said, look, I'll be back in Tuesday. And I said the worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to be a good influence on the younger lads.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just I wouldn't be one for big speeches or anything like that. So I just, if I got a chance, it was a small word here, a small word there. And I worked hard, and I played well actually after the club championship, even though I didn't play any of the club championship with Glenbeigh, and I trained and played well, and I ended up being on the panel for all the games and stuff like that. So it was a bit of a reward, but it was the same argument then. You won't be fit enough for 70 minutes. And my argument was, well, if you give me 40 now, 2 weeks time I might get 60, and then keep
Yeah.
going. But sure, look, that's the way it goes.
That's the way it was. And I suppose one point to say was, do you reckon, we say the GA has become much more professional, we say, since when you started to when you retired? And when I say professional now, you know what I mean, kind of semi-professional, or whatever way you want to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it can get any more professional without being professional.
Yeah.
Just the way fellas' lives are ran around the GA. And the way fellas
their careers
train
are
now.
ran as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Like you'd see the amount of fellas now, especially in places like Kerry and places that are far away from the likes of Dublin. It's fine, that's where most of the jobs and stuff like that. But it's just you can't play inter-county football being too far away. Like, you know, the travel's a killer. So I just think the way fellas look after themselves now, and like that, their career is dictated by inter-county football.
Yeah, it is, and it's, I suppose exactly, it's kind of a fine line, but I suppose, looking back in your career, and what advice would you give to younger lads now, or what advice would you give to a young Darran O'Sullivan? Do you know, a younger one, if you could go back in time?
If I could go back, a lot of it would be just to be tougher, be braver. I always think that if I'd rocked the boat a bit more, with management, would they just start to me? Because I know, like, there was games I should have started. No, like that, I said I was happy to be contributing, and I was there going. But I never ever called out the manager when I knew I should have been on if I was left off for whatever reason. And I always think that, if I was a bit tougher and wasn't as unselfish, I suppose, and maybe was looking out for myself more, I probably would have started majority of games. But a lot of it is just being tougher. I suppose the hardest thing is to say no. And sometimes there was trainings where I just shouldn't have trained, and I probably knew it going out there, but wasn't tough enough to say, look, my body's not feeling this today. I'm leaving off tonight, and I'm going to be perfect on Thursday, or I'm leaving off tonight, and I'll be ready to go on Saturday, whatever it was. I just wanted to keep them all happy, do everything, and not be crying off or whatever. And it ended up biting me in the arse on numerous occasions.
Yeah, so I suppose, that point again is player management is probably, and managing your own body is probably a big thing. So I suppose, to sum it up, you probably would give a young Darran O'Sullivan more advice to, just watch your body. And
a lot of it is, it's just like nobody knows your body better than you do, and like I would, like, even in terms of my training now, you very quickly realize what training suits you and what doesn't. And I knew what drills suited me, I knew what drills didn't suit me, and just sometimes I should have been tough enough to say, look, geez, my body will not be able to cope with that. I'm pulling myself from this or that. No, you can't give fellas free rein and stuff like that. But a lot of it's just knowing your body, being comfortable and being confident. But after that, it's just the fellas who work the hardest tend to get the most out of it.
Yeah. And I suppose just leading on to, we'll finish it up now in a few minutes, but the year you won the All-Ireland with Glenbeigh, was that 2018 or was it 2019?
16.
16. Jesus, the year's going to be long gone.
19 was only last year.
I know, I'm all over the shop. This quarantine is having me all mixed up. But did you find it hard balancing with, say, inter-county commitments with club then, or what was the situation?
I didn't balance. I just said no. That was when I learned the word no. I didn't train with Kerry at all, probably stupidly, because I didn't play a whole final the following year. I gave it all to Glenbeigh. I just figured opportunity mightn't come again.
Yeah.
Like, I suppose the club have been on a major journey since 2004. What we've come from Division 5 football, we're getting to this point, a chance to go to Croke Park. When I started off, I never thought we'd see the day.
Yeah.
So that was, for me, that was my sole focus, and Kerry was just going to have to wait. But like that, we won All Ireland on a Sunday, and the following Saturday I was tagged down in Fitzgerald Stadium coming on against Monaghan. Even though I was injured, I got injured in the Glenbeigh final. So you win it, you enjoy it, and then it's back to Kerry.
Normal duty then. And
Yeah,
I say that must have been an unbelievable experience to to go to Croke Park. I suppose very few people are given that opportunity or have that opportunity. So I say you had a good few nights in Glenbeigh then.
that's it. Like when I look back at it and you look at the I was going to say the nights we had in Glenbeigh in 2009 when I was captain, and then 2016 after we won the All Ireland there. It's just, geez, people don't know the crack until they come to Glenbeigh for a long weekend or something.
I look, Darren, we'll wrap it up there, but just one or two quick questions. What would be your favourite meal? I suppose your favourite meal now, then compared to when you were playing, they're probably a bit different. Or has the diet
Ah,
changed a bit? Or
not a whole pile. My wife's a vegetarian, but she hasn't nailed me down to that yet. I think I love barbecues. So, like realistically, you can't beat a steak and chips.
oh yeah,
A steak on a
so,
barbecue and chips. It's very simple. I'm a simple
can't
guy.
can't beat it. Can't beat it. And we say your toughest intercounty opponent and your toughest club opponent.
Toughest into county, but probably Keith Higgins. He was
Why so?
incredibly. He's just so quick and agile, and like that, he'd be dangerous enough that he'd go up the field and either create a score or score himself. So,
Yeah,
like that, my game was based on pace, and he had plenty of it as well.
and he was tough as well. In fairness to him, he
I
was.
was, yeah, he wouldn't back away from that. Like he's a ball playing defender who's not afraid. Like if you want to fight him, he'll fight you. If you want to play football, he'll play football. So
Yeah, and he's well able to run, and he's a good engine in him. In fairness, so.
yeah, no, it's a serious operator.
And we say the toughest club opponent.
Paul Greedy,
Yeah,
hate him,
he's
hate him. We'd be good buddies, myself and Paul. We would have gone through all the underage together, and we were always marking each other. So he knows my game probably better than I know it. And as soon as I get the ball, he'd start roaring steps,
oh
and he used to break me, and I'd turn around. I'd be like, "Would you ever shut up?" But he would be hopping ball, but he knew me inside out, like, so he knew what I was gonna do most of the time before I was gonna do it.
and there's nothing worse, nothing worse.
No,
Look, Darren, we'll wrap it up there. I think we had a
perfect.
good chat. And look, thanks very much for coming on. I appreciate it.
No bother. Any